The Department of Homeland Security is now granting temporary amnesty for Syrian refugees living in the U.S. It's a move that will allow them to remain in the country for up to 18 months longer despite their legal status. This comes as more than 8,000 Syrian refugees have arrived in the U.S. over the past year. Charles Cully Stimson is a former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for detainees, now with the Heritage Foundation. Sir, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
I want to take a step back for some of our viewers. Can you walk us through not only how this works, but also who is affected?
Yeah, so this is actually called temporary protected status. It's a form of amnesty. It's for persecuted minorities or others that the Secretary of Homeland Security deems that come from a country that's war-torn or otherwise affected and deserve to be allowed into the United States on a temporary status. The problem, Elizabeth, is how do you properly vet people? An intelligence-based risk assessment if you don't have any information.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do they have interviews? What's the process that these refugees have to go through? Do they meet in person?
Yeah, well, they don't have to. If you look at the law, they don't have to do an in-person interview, which would be preferable to no interview. But the real question is, as FBI Director Comey said, you know, we can query databases, quote, till the cows come home, as he said, but if there's no information, there's no information. So where our concern is that you have to have an intelligence-based risk assessment. We are a very, very good country in terms of humanitarian efforts. Last year we took in 70,000 refugees from around the world. This year about 80,000. But you have to do it in an intelligent way.
Okay, and I want to ask you that these folks are being granted amnesty under the 2012 TPS program. Is that correct?
That's right.
Are other countries listed in that program?
There are. And in fact, the Department of Homeland Security on their website has a number of countries that they list. And if you look at that list, you see that really this is not temporary. And although Jay Johnson, the Secretary of Homeland Security, says they'll be eligible for up to 18 months here in the United States, regardless of how they got here, perhaps illegally. During the time they have TPS status, they can apply for other benefits and adjust their status so that they can become lawful permanent residents and eventually even citizens.
President Obama has said that he has a goal, if I'm not mistaken, it's 10,000, granting refuge for 10,000 refugees into this country. What are the consequences that we're seeing across the globe? Are we learning from incidents in other countries that have fluid borders and who are accepting a number of refugees as well? Yeah,
well, Europe right now, of course, is suffering from a hemorrhage of people coming out of Syria, and they're leaving for good reasons. If you or I were born in Syria, Elizabeth, we'd get the heck out of there. Right. Obviously, we want to protect our families. It's not that we are dispassionate or have no heart. It's the concern from a policy perspective and a national security perspective. You can look at France, you can look at other countries in Europe where this massive flow of refugees, unvetted refugees, are affecting their budgets, their security, etc. And so that's what we don't want to happen here in the United States. Okay, so what's the alternative? Is there an alternative? Are there safe havens we can create in Syria? Are there things that we can be doing overseas? Well, we've been very generous. We've given billions of dollars in this effort to not only address the root causes of the problem, although I don't think we've done enough, but also stem the tide of these refugees. So setting up refugee camps under UN protected status in the region until the underlying cause is addressed is the better solution than thinking that we can import tens of thousands of refugees every year, year over year, because that's just a temporary patch. That's not a long-term solution. Right. Cully, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Sure thing.